Good morning. It's good to have you join us on Nigeria Now, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, 2S Television. My name is Merciful Lajinimo. To analyze some stories this morning on the front pages of some Nigerian newspapers is Felix Adetobo. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Happy New Week.
Happy New Week too.
Thank you, thank you. We begin from the Daily Trust newspaper. The banner headline there is Bandits Closing In on Kaduna Metropolis. We have a couple of others. The first, as kidnappers vacate forest due to military operations. Riga Chikun, Riga Sabo, others witnessing attacks. Kaduna government and police says, we're not sleeping. Zaria residents agitated. Kajuru locals desert homes. That's on page 3 of the Daily Trust newspaper. What do you make of this headline this morning?
This is like it's not. It shouldn't make a news again, but this is human life and this is security. Seriously, as I was coming this morning, someone was still calling the radio station to just explain what was happening in our own vicinity too. That's even in Niger State that people have deserted that place because of what was happening this morning. So if such is happening, there are a lot of issues happening that are not being reported, and this is one of them again. I think the government just have to do more. This has shown to us that it's not only about Tucano jets now. There are a lot of things that need to be done, to put security in check in this country.
I totally agree. Still on the Daily Trust newspaper there, from the very top, we see Bauchi's oldest monarch, Emir of Jamahare, buried amid tears. That was on page 7. On page 24, we see as China delays, federal government shops for 5.9 trillion naira loan to deliver multiple rail project. That's on page 24. And then NCDC confirms the Lassa fever killed 40 Nigerians in January. We can get that story on page 41 of the Daily Trust newspaper. This story talking about China delay and federal government shopping for 5.9 trillion naira loan to deliver multiple rail projects. I know we've been talking about rail projects in this country for over the last couple of years now, and we've seen some in some places. But what do you make of this loan, this huge amount of money to deliver multiple rail projects?
This government, they have a way of just taking loans, and I know loans are to be paid back. These are not grants. And if we keep borrowing all this, Nigeria is already at a deficit of over 40 trillion naira. And adding this to it again, it's called for concern. And the government, those in charge of the economy, need to do more about all these things happening. And another thing is that even though this money is being spent on that rail, we saw what happened the other time when the train from Abuja to Lagos being attacked and the rest. And all these things could, and I believe that's where they also want to get the money to pay back. And with all these pockets of insecurities happening around and the attacks, it could even cause a kind of damages to those things, and we may not even be able to pay back. So the rate at which this government is borrowing money is alarming. And if you look at it again, and if the government just feel that this is look at the budget for 2022 is around the 16 trillion, and now to get money to even service that, they have to also borrow again. So we keep borrowing money to service our budget. We borrow to pay salary. We just borrow. I don't know. With a country as that has a lot in his hands to be able to be rich, I don't know why we borrow all the time. Is it that the government can't just think outside the box to get something out and make sure that the country is better off? This is not speaking well of us. Loan all the time. Last week, we read where the Minister of Transition was lamenting that China has refused to borrow, to lend Nigerian money, and because of that, they may not be able to deliver on the projects they have. Is it what we are just, here for? This government just to borrow all the time? I just wonder what they will leave when they are leaving office. I wonder what will be left in their account.
Okay, that's it on Daily Trust. We move over to the Daily Business Day newspaper. Of course, the big story is Dangote refinery to curb petrol import subsidy impact muted. And then besides that, we see lawmakers to end opaque federal budgeting by 2023. and that's on page 30 of the Business Day newspaper. And then on page 31, we see new payment system to allow Naira across Africa. Still on page 31, rising global interest rate signal costly debt for Nigeria. And now to the Daily Independent newspaper. The banner headline there is regulation damaged FX market may undervalue banks. The writer says analysts say with Basel III, lower liquidity lenders at risk of pressured margins. We can get out on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper. From the very top, talking about the APC convention, Buhari used the governors as consensus candidates emerge this week. Rather says marriage that produced APC not working, says ex-governor. Yes, the APC convention is here late last week. We know of how we've had those conversations around will it hold, will it not hold, and all the internal party crisis has, rocked the APC party. But what do you make of this news talking about a consensus candidate emerging this week?
It's quite interesting. Although parties have the right, to do whatever they want within their party. But to be sincere with you, this issue of consensus candidate is undemocratic, to be sincere, because you've shut other people out to express themselves and also to vie, giving everybody a level playground to be able to, aspire. But now that you've, a kind of focus that, okay, we want to pick so person, I just wish that this is not going to divide them the more, because we are talking of them. Is it not the president now that they're talking about?
Yes.
As a consensus candidate, well, they said candidates. Probably is their working committee. It could be their working committee. Well, no problem. Let's see how it goes, because we've seen a lot of people coming out to show interest to be the chairman of the party, and so you don't forget they don't have board of trustees. Since even since 2019, before then. So they've been running it, on a thin line. So let's just see what happens. But this issue of consensus candidacy, to me, is not democratic, and I feel they shouldn't go this way. But let's see how it will be, because it's very easy for something like this to break up a party, and you know that the party already is dangling. So.
Okay, still on that page right there on the Daily Independent newspaper, we see FGM, Nigeria has third highest number of mutilated women. There's a report coming from the UNICEF, and that's on page 29 of the Daily Independent newspaper. Beside the picture of the day, insecurity has left Southeast Bahrain, says ESIMA president. That's on page 7. FPSO Inferno Corps recovered 3 crew members alive. That's coming from SEPCOL. And federal government released 3 privatized firms from BPE monitoring. That's on page 7 as well. Buhari, Ethiopian Prime Minister Ahmed meet over rising spate of coups in Africa. And that's on the that we see that on the big story there. That's the picture of the day there. We see President Buhari shaking hands with the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Ahmed. Then underneath that story, we see despite $1 billion grant, aerospace varsity yet to take off 6 years after. The stakeholders expressed disappointment in ministry's performance. And then, of course, we see the big story, of course, talking about AFCON 2021. Senegal defeat Egypt, win the Africa Cup of Nations. That's on page 30. Before we come to the sports news, of course, that's got young people talking right now. What do you make of this rising spate of coups in Africa that's making, heads of state and presidents to meet and talk about way forward? We spoke about just 2 weeks ago during the time, was it, what country was that now? Is that Burkina Faso?
Is it Burkina Faso? Yeah.
Yes, that they were playing a match and there was a coup in the country. What do you make of all of these things happening in the continent Africa at the moment?
This is the result of bad governance. It's very simple. When you make the people to suffer, when poverty keeps rising in a nation, the people want to find a way, to satisfy themselves. You can't put someone in pressure and you feel that person is not going to come out to be free. To them, this is a way of being free. And African leaders need to come together and come to the realization. It's not about banning. They've banned, these 4 or 5 countries now that have been successful in their coup. It's not about banning them. Are we really going into the nitty-gritty, to the source of this thing? The source is that many Africans are suffering. Nigeria, as an example, is said to be the capital city of the world, Nigeria. Just imagine if Nigeria, that is seen to be a rich country, although rich with mouth, we see that because we know what we are facing here. Now, not to now talk of all those other countries with what is happening in those places, the result of corruption, the result of bad governance, maladministration. That's what we are seeing. So African presidents need to come together, not about banning those people, those countries, but coming to the realization that they are not doing well. That's what is happening.
All right. Just because we're out of time, in one sentence, how do you see Senegal's victory yesterday versus Egypt in the Cameroon?
I'm telling you, beautiful. During, within the regulation time, I was using my tongue to count my teeth because they outplayed Egypt to the last. But, these Egyptians, they have a way of soaking up pressure, and that's what they've been doing.
Coming back from
coming
the start.
back, yes. They've not been good in the tournament. They weren't good. Salah was one of the worst players in the tournament, I can tell you that.
Who is one of the best players.
Yeah, he does in Europe, but we are talking of Africa now. It was 0 in the tournament. I stand to be corrected, but what I saw, it was 0. He couldn't even do anything. And don't forget, like this round of 16, quarter-final and semi-final, they've been going beyond
the expectation.
They've been going beyond even the regulation time. That was why they called for the extension of the final. That they've been playing beyond the 90 minutes. But thank God, they finally got it yesterday. I was really happy. That was the first time they will win it. And kudos to the coach. The coach has been with the team right from time. He played for them. He brought them to the last final. They couldn't win, but now he won. It's very interesting.
I know many Africans are expressing their joy, especially Nigeria as a country. I think we're most of the supporters of Senegal winning this African competition because the first time
that was the first time against someone who has won it for like 7 times.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Felix, for joining us on Nigeria Now. And thank you, viewers, for staying tuned to Nigeria Now. Don't forget, we come your way every Mondays to Fridays. Again, you can be a part of our social media community. That is www.tostvnetwork.com and at TOSTV Network on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. My name is Merciful Ajinomo. Bye for now.